Welcome back in, everyone, to another casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today, here on the bottom of the map, we're going to be seeing Chris Soar play as the Ottomans. And up at the top of the map, we're going to be seeing Sergeant Johan play as the Abbasid dynasty. Now, the only reason this video is happening today is because of our comment of the day, which comes from user Tangible Yet, who says, can you cast an Ottoman game? And I think they have left a couple comments asking for an Ottomans game. So yes, we are finally getting to an Ottomans game today. Now, the Abbasid dynasty is a civilization that I have not played much, but I am really curious to see how this civilization is going to work. This is a heavily economy-focused civilization, and so I assume what we're going to see today out of the Abbasid dynasty is 2 TC before they start mass-producing military units. Now, on the other side of the map, the Ottomans, they can produce military units for free out of their military school. So I think that's why we saw a bunch of units run over to stone at the very beginning to grab enough stone to make this military school, because now this is going to start producing spearmen immediately to run across the map and start harassing. The spearmen are going to be potentially very, very annoying. The Abbasid dynasty does get a bonus on their berries, and the House of Wisdom going down, and they're going to get all of their age ups out of this building. So we are going to have to keep an eye on that building and see what age ups they go with today. Scouts are just making their way around the map, grabbing some sheep. We're at a pretty even sheep split so far. One single unit over here, 4 gold for the Ottomans player. So I think the Abbasid dynasty is going to be really, really strong in the mid to late game. But because the Ottomans is pushing out free units, this is going to be a little bit of a fight for them. So I'm going to have to see where that first spear ends up going whenever it is completed. I would imagine it's going to go start harassing the gold. The gold, it does seem like, or just on these berry bushes, that seems like a great place to go and harass as well. Consider working on some villagers. That House of Wisdom is completed. We are getting the economic wing upgrade today, and that economic wing on that side of the map is going to unlock a bunch of unique technologies that can be researched in the coming ages. And I want to keep an eye on the vizier points as well. I think in the other Ottoman games that I've casted, I have not kept an eye on these vizier points at all. And so with this economic wing upgrade, we are going to get the Fertile Crescent in the Feudal Age, which reduces the cost of economic buildings by 30%. And the spear is now here from the Ottomans player, immediately attacking this villager, trying to gather stone. Sergeant Johan does spot this and is microing the villagers back and forth to try and do a little bit of damage here. I think ultimately the spear will win this fight, and I'm not sure how Sergeant Johan is going to repel this spear. They are getting lower and lower in health, and those villagers do ultimately chase this spear out of the area. Beautiful play here by Sergeant Johan to micro those villagers back and forth to make sure they're just doing one little bit of damage at a time to make sure that spearmen cannot stay here and harass too long. These villagers have not really been interrupted that much, and this one villager is just going back and forth. Players are obviously just paying attention here, microing as much as possible. And we do have that second spear coming out for the Ottomans player. The trade network is going down for that age up, going into the Feudal Age for the Ottomans player, as the spear comes back, and it's going to try to get in as much damage as possible. We can see 7 villagers on stone now for Sergeant Johan. I do think that means they're going for that second TC. The Abbasid dynasty really just wants to get a robust, strong economy in place before mass-producing military units later in the game. These spears are being annoying. Spears are being very, very annoying here, and forcing Sergeant Johan to micro back and forth over and over, and causing definitely a decent amount of idle time over here, it seems like. Back over here on the Ottoman side, this trade network is going to supply our Ottomans player with some extra gold for each trader they garrison in here. Garrison up to 10 traders. It starts out with 3, so that does just turn into a gold generation building. Villagers being pulled off of stone over here to go gather wood now. And now both of these spears are going to work on burning down this mining camp. And Sergeant Johan has not placed any military production buildings down just yet, is primarily focused on building up that economy on this side with a ton of wood production at the moment. I'm assuming so they can hit that second TC as quickly as possible. And there it is. It's right there next to the stone. So whenever this does get completed, Sergeant Johan will be able to garrison villagers in here and start shooting arrows at these spears, and this early push will be repelled. Sergeant Johan did an incredible job of microing those villagers back and forth on top of that stone to damage these spears and make sure none of his villagers died. And we just got the first vizier point. So our Ottomans player went with 2 imams, which are early religious units. So now Ottomans player will be able to get some heals out before Castle Age, and this could potentially be really, really good. You guys come up here to heal these spears, so the spears could keep harassing, but I'm not sure what our Ottomans player is going to do with these. We'll have to see. And oh my god, the Sipahi are already rolling out. Sipahi are so much fun. They are a stronger horsemen for the Ottomans player, but they are also more expensive. So Ottomans do get really, really strong weak horseman units, but at the cost of them being very, very expensive. Not sure why that building got destroyed there. Maybe it was the wrong military production building at the moment. We are getting an archery range down over here to start dealing damage to these spears. As we can see, our Ottomans player is already up to 12 military units. They have fully invested in military production at the moment. We have multiple stables, an archery range, and a military school going down to start amassing those units. One single Sipahi running in just to look and see if there's any spot on this wood line to harass, but immediately gets repelled by all of these villagers garrisoning inside that town center. Another Sipahi tries to do the same thing, but it is also going to be repelled at the moment. As we can see up at the top, already our Ottomans player has +1 to ranged armor. Why do they keep walking in there one by one? Just to cause a little bit of delay, potentially? But as we can see, yes, and now the early religious units are here to help heal this military as they go in and dive and harass. And this +1 armor, 2 ranged. Oh my goodness, how did that villager not die? That was crazy. This villager is so low health, 2 HP and a dream on that villager. And like I was saying before, this wedge rivets is going to help our Ottomans player dive these TCs a lot more efficiently. And now that the Sipahi are on the battlefield, we can see our Abbasid Dynasty player is beginning to start producing those spears. Spears are going to do great against those Sipahi if they get to a high enough number. And I saw earlier that the upgrade for battering rams was being built. So these infantry units over here are going to be able to start building battering rams. And I think our Ottomans player wants to punish this second TC here and shut down this Abbasid economy. Nobody is working on their castle age up at the moment. Maybe the Abbasid player is, but I think everybody is producing units, and we're 6 buildings away from hitting that golden age over here on the Abbasid Dynasty's side. So far, Sergeant Johan has not lost a single villager. That is actually insanely impressive. Through all of the attacks from this Ottomans player, Sergeant Johan has been able to micro all of these units to a safe distance. They might lose their first villager right here, and there it goes. The first villager of the game taken out by our Ottomans player. Now we do have some ranged units moving out from the side of Sergeant Johan to try and counter some of these archers over here, and our Ottomans player is just amassing such a huge military at the moment, fully dedicating to this feudal age push. Feudal age aggression could really hurt the Abbasid Dynasty if they get some rams down. I know they got the upgrade. I'm not seeing any rams go down at the moment. As we can see, Steeled Arrow is coming through here for the Ottomans, and they're just continually using these early religious units that they got from their vizier points to heal up their ally army. The Sipahi do try and make a trip into that wood line, but are ultimately chased out by all of the units over here on the side of Sergeant Johan, and they can just come back, and this is so insanely strong. getting these units to continually dive over and over and over while they can just retreat, come back out and heal is just so good for early aggression. We're seeing how strong those early religious units can really be here on the Ottoman side of the battlefield. Sergeant Johann is amassing somewhat of a military, though, more dedicated to the economy at the moment, and it looks like now Sergeant Johann is going for that castle age up, while also moving some villagers over here to Deer. The military not quite at the numbers we see over here on the Ottomans player side, but still at a pretty decent amount. I think they will be able to defend from the Sipahi at the moment. Maybe a few more spears would help out a little bit here on the side of the Abbasid. And now we are getting the battering rams from the Ottomans player. And so I think what's going to happen here is I think our Ottomans player is going to fully dedicate into this feudal push and try and knock out the economy. This is going to be a potentially devastating attack on this second TC. We are going to have to see who wins in this fight because the Ottomans player has just greatly outnumbered Sergeant Johann at this point. And we are getting a castle age up here. We are getting the military wing. To unlock several unique technologies over here. They did get that first economic wing technology in the feudal age, and now we're getting the massive attack on this second TC. Where is the military for the Abbasid player? It's a little bit far behind, now moving in to try and attack as this TC is taking heavy damage. Two battering rams have almost completely and totally destroyed it. All these Sipahi are also doing a ton of damage to that TC. We can see these archers are doing their best to damage the Sipahi, but it just was not enough. The TC does look like it did some pretty good damage, though. Those spears staying out of the range of all of these archers on the side of the Ottomans, and ultimately that second TC was lost. But as we can see up top, our Abbasid player is already 13 villagers ahead, 14 villagers ahead now. So their economy is definitely stronger at this point in time. As we can see, they have about 1,000 more resources. And now the game just comes down to, can our Ottomans player push into this main TC and tear down that TC plus the House of Wisdom before this military can knock them out. The Ottomans player deciding to go for the military production at the moment, taking out this archery range, while moving a ton of Sipahi into the woodline to start attacking villagers. Ultimately, they are pulled back to run into the front line of the Abbasid dynasty. And now these Sipahi are hanging back to try and protect these archers. These archers getting a ton of damage in while being successfully microed away from the main fight. We do have some camel archers rolling out. These camels are going to reduce the amount of damage by enemy horsemen by 20%. So these are going to be really good against these Sipahi. The Sipahi, of course, just ate up a ton of archers over here on the Abbasid, but now the spears are in the front line, helping defend for the Abbasid dynasty. This camel archer is gonna go down, and it looks like our Abbasid player is losing most of their military at this point. So many Sipahi on the side of the Ottomans that this has just been devastating. Where did those rams go to? Are the rams gone? More Sipahi reinforcements are showing up, and it looks like the Ottomans player is just getting a ton of villager kills here. We're up to 6 villager kills for the side of the Ottomans. Absolutely devastating. We are getting the Ghulam out, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but those are going to be the men-at-arms for the side of the Abbasid dynasty. And just so many villagers are being lost here for Sergeant Johann. That was an incredibly successful attack. Multiple units now working on burning down some of these economic buildings. And ultimately, the Ottomans do have to retreat after an incredibly successful attack. They got an archery range, a TC, and 10 villagers there. Absolutely devastating for Sergeant Johann. As we can see, we got a second military school down as well. We're almost at the point where they can get their second Vizier point upgrade. And we're not at the point where the increased health of all infantry by 15% has been upgraded at the moment. And we could also see agriculture come in. This would improve villagers gathering from farms by 15%, but there just aren't that many farms on the battlefield yet, so those resources will probably be saved until later. After an incredible attack from the Ottomans player, they are deciding to regroup their military. And I wonder if Sergeant Johann is going to build another town center. putting a mosque down at the moment. Sergeant Johan is the only one in Castle Age at the moment, so they are potentially going to get those Castle Age upgrades. As we can see, the archers are getting that veteran upgrade. Horticulture is now coming in for the Abbasid dynasty. They're going to start upgrading that economy so they can start mass producing units a lot easier. And once this economy gets into a good spot, they are going to be really hard to deal with. Even after that very successful attack here, Sergeant Johan is still very much in this game. The Imperial Armory is going to produce free siege units for the Ottomans. This age-up landmark is incredibly powerful and extremely good. Everything the Ottomans does just feels so strong. Free units everywhere is absolutely absurd, and we did get that second Vizier Point upgrade. Spawn 12 sheep at the landmark town. Increase villagers' mining speed by 15%. So they are going to get 15% increased mining here on the side of the Ottomans. Very strong upgrade. We are getting another town center from Abbasid Dynasty. So Sergeant Johan is 7 villagers ahead, but wants to maintain that villager lead. So just put another TC down to help improve that economy. I think this was a really great play. This is going to guarantee, since Sergeant Johan did not get wiped out in that feudal push, I think making sure that that economy stays way above Chrysaor's is going to be really important as we go into the mid and late game. This town center, the rubble, you will be remembered, town center. The Ottoman military looks like it's mobilizing to make another attack. Are they going to swing in and attack again? I don't know if they've spotted the second TC just yet. They are going to try and burn down his mining camp, though. Those Sipahi do now spot the second TC, and this must be pretty upsetting to know that right after you destroyed their first second TC, they got a second TC. And oh my goodness, there's a third town center going down. So now Sergeant Johan is going to be so far ahead economically, it's not even funny. But the Ottomans player is still producing a lot of units for free, but is not going for a second town center at the moment. I assume these military schools are on Sipahi. No, they're on crossbows. Interesting. I assume that's because we saw the Abbasid equivalent of the men-at-arms rolling out. Not going to see those Sipahi from the military school. That is very interesting. And we are getting another ram push here from Chrysaor as the Ottomans. I assume they're just going to go for the second TC again, but they don't know just yet that this third town center is actually in the back. Sergeant Johan is setting himself up for a insane economy. These two rams are unprotected at the moment and are just going to get absolutely chewed up by those men-at-arms, the Ghulam. Rams moving in now to start damaging this TC. The Sipahi running in to try and hold this front line. A ton of Janissaries have also joined the party for the Ottomans. And those are an incredible Castle Age gunpowder unit that are doing a lot of damage. Villagers now running out to burn down these battering rams, and very successfully, I might add. Those villagers did get all of those battering rams. Nobody's repairing this town center at the moment, but it does look like this attack is ultimately going to get repelled. These men-at-arms are just not dying while they're being successfully kited by all of the Janissaries. Moving back now into a better defensive position, that was repelled beautifully by Sergeant Johan, who did not take very many losses, did not lose a single villager in that attack or a building. And I think our Ottomans player was pretty hurt by that fight there. Did end up losing a lot of units in that battle, and now it's up to Sergeant Johan to just take the lead in this fight. Their economy is robust, and both players are in Castle Age, and our Abbasid player has access to 3 relics at the moment. There should be one more on the map, and here it is right here in the center. Over here on this side, it does look like our Ottomans player has 1 single relic, and there it is. Sipahi moving in to attack these villagers yet again. They did get 1 villager kill, but are not going to be able to push into that second TC. Mangonels have joined the party now, and they can hit this second town center at this range. Will this be enough to take down this town center? I think Sergeant Johan can just move some villagers over here to a repair, and this won't be that big of a deal. This Mangonel could also target those villagers on wood. Never mind, Sergeant Johan did spot that immediately and is moving those villagers off of wood. And a wall going down on this side of the map. I assume they're also going to put it on this area right there. There it is. So they're just going to wall off this entire area of the map to make sure that they can work in those areas without being harassed. Springolds and Rams joining the party here, and is that a Lancer? We have an Ottoman's Lancer on the battlefield as well. Janissaries moving in to attack the second TC. It does look like the second TC is going to fall, but we do have the third TC in the back, so I think our Ottoman's player is okay. They are a solid 27 villagers ahead at the moment as these militaries fight it out in front of the main base. And so many units lost here. A couple villagers lost for Abbasid as well. While this TC is going to fall to all of these units, but the men-at-arms are running into the fight and just chewing up these Janissaries so well. They're also going to take out this battering ram while the Abbasid is getting mangonels of their own, and that just did a ton of damage to all of those crossbows and archers on the left side of the Ottomans military. And now these units do have to fall back, because it looks like they're just taking so much damage. But of course, the Abbasid side is taking a ton of damage from this mangonel as well. That mangonel is actually turning the tide of this fight. And in the back, the Abbasid mangonel was not firing for a long time. But now that it is, I think they're going to have a much better time in this fight. Ultimately being pushed back, though. That mangonel did not fire for a really long time. And as you can see, when it does fire, the damage is just insane on this side of the map. But now this mangonel is in danger from the other mangonel. It looks like they're just going to have a mangonel off here. I think the Abbasid mangonel is going to fall first, though. This is unfortunate. It's also getting hit by 2 Springolds at the moment. It is so close to death, just barely saved in time by villagers repairing it, who then get immediately attacked by all that siege equipment from the Ottoman side. And we have a great bombard here for the Ottomans player. Now moving this great bombard into position to attack this town center for the Abbasid dynasty. What are these villagers doing here? I assume these were moved forward to potentially build a keep or something, but this feels like a crazy spot. These villagers are working together. They're enemy villagers, but they're on the same side. And we can hear the bombard going off in the background. Let's ignore these villagers and go check out what this bombard is doing. Just attacking this main TC at the moment. It looks like Abbasid is using their infantry to build some mangonels here in the back, while this great bombard fires down this main TC. We do have 1 sacred site capture from Sergeant Johan, and I don't think we're going to get... 2 sacred site captured here for Sergeant Johan. The Ottoman's player is freeing up one of those. This great bombard working on just damaging this TC. It does look like this TC is getting repaired from somewhere. Maybe not, actually. And if these units are not answered, this main TC looks like it might actually fall here at the moment. And I think we need to get a defensive push here from Sergeant Johan. They are just amassing more mangonels here in the back, building those mangonels with their infantry units. And all of these villagers that were on wood do get spotted by the Lancers and are immediately chased out of the area. This wall here is not complete. It looks like these Lancers could run past that wall and get some harassment in. Sergeant Johan now pulling that military in to the fight, targeting that great bombard first. And this is going to be a massive push here from the Abbasid dynasty. All of those men-at-arms in the front just soaking up so much damage and just fully taking on those Lancers and putting them down, not letting those Lancers live at all. And the mangonels from the Abbasid dynasty are just doing a ton of damage. They're targeting the siege equipment in the back, and they did a beautiful job at taking that out. And that great bombard also looks like it's about to fall to these mangonels as well. This was an excellent defense here from Sergeant Johan. The front line does seem to be dead, but those siege units are just cleaning up so many kills that it's absurd. That great The Great Bombard does fall for the Ottomans, and now the siege just have to turn around and move away a little bit. They are in a little bit of danger at the moment. It looks like we need some more frontline units for the Abbasid dynasty to hold these siege units in place. Several of these siege units are going to fall. The mangonels are falling. While in the back, the Springles are still firing away, and what started out as an absolutely amazing defense from Sergeant Johan did crumble a little bit there at the end, but ultimately I think Sergeant Johan is still on top in this fight because they are 33 villagers ahead at the moment. A solid 33 villagers ahead while these Lancers are running in to get... What is happening? They're putting farms down next to the enemy base? I thought they were moving... What are they doing? Are they... Surely the farms would be better placed back here. Surely farms. I can understand taking the map resources. Like here what Christopher is doing is taking the deer away from Sergeant Johan. So Sergeant Johan cannot use those map resources. But the farms? What are they doing there? Now the Lancers moving in to attack the main TC. Definitely getting some villager kills, as we can see. Christopher has been able to kill 27 villagers for Sergeant Johan, but Sergeant Johan is still very much in this fight with 104 villagers. This second TC in the back has not been harassed yet. Now we do have a farm network going down for the Abbasid dynasty. They are making that full farm transition. And now, if Sergeant Johan sees this, is this not just free kills? What? Yeah, the villagers on the farms are gonna die. Maybe it's acting as vision. I have no idea what's going on there with those farms. Sergeant Johan now fully pushing out of their base, trying to repel all of these enemy forces using the men-at-arms, the archers, and the crossbows to deal a ton of damage to these units and forcing them out of their base. This Ottomans player has been in the front of Sergeant Johan's base the entire game, and now finally they are being repelled. Excellent back and forth fight from both of these players. Feels like it is anybody's game at the moment. And now it looks like the Ottomans player has outnumbered Sergeant Johan in this little skirmish on the side. Sergeant Johan does have reinforcements back there, but they're not in the fight just yet. I do think Sergeant Johan needs to fall back here a little bit to not die to these Ottoman units. But they are going to bring their reinforcements to the front, and this fight is going to be a lot more fair now that the reinforcements are here. As we can see up at the top, Abbasid has completely and totally outnumbered the Ottomans player in military value. And as we can see at the bottom, the Abbasid player is a solid 15,000 resources ahead as these units clash here in the center of the map. The archers working on microing down those crossbows in the back of the Ottomans' army. We're not seeing any more Janissaries here from the Ottomans player, and I'm surprised we're not seeing more Sipahi. The Sipahi would work really, really well here against these crossbows and archers, and now we do get a wave of Sipahi rolling out to run into the fight, but they looked like they were pathed wrong and did ultimately die to those crossbow units. The Abbasid dynasty moving in to make an attack now and has flipped the tide of this battle in their favor. Their economy is absolutely ridiculous at the moment. They have 118 villagers to the Ottomans, 75, so far ahead economically, just producing so many more units at the moment. And it looks like they could also make a move to Imperial as well. The Ottomans military gathering, both of these militaries look like they're regrouping at the moment for a fight here in the center of the map. The spears run into the front line to try and kill as many Sipahi as possible as the Sipahi fall back to get into a better position. But now these spears and men-at-arms are going crazy on the archers, and this is another game. So I don't know why that happens. If anybody in the comments knows why sometimes the game just kick me out, please let me know. I'm gonna go check who won and I'll be right back. Ottomans player just forfeited after they saw that engagement there in the center of the map. So what a great game. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I hope to see each and every one of you in the next video. Bye.